Hey guys, this is Charlene from MILF Manor, and you're watching the Dominick Naughty Show.
The show is getting a lot of backlash since this premiere. So I don't know if you've been reading these headlines, but like some of the headlines are saying that the show is cringy. Rolling Stone referred to it as incest porn. Like, do you feel that MILF Manor is MILF Manor a form of incest porn? I mean, how do you feel about this?
I think incest is a very wrong word because we're not dating our sons. So that word is wrong. What I will say is when you talk about things like cringy or taboo or weird or strange or odd or even maybe a little ew, okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe that's your initial take on it. But remember, we lived it. It was our life and situation. And we've had those same feelings, and maybe we were thrown off, but like we lived it, we did it, we got through it, and it became something else. And so I think the audience really needs to hold on to and watch the unfolding and see how like we learn and we grow.
Have you ever had a sexual relationship in the past with one of your son's friends or someone his age?
Well, I can tell you that I've had one instance that I there was some opportunity of like interest with one of my son's friends, but he was a little bit older. I mean, he's still one of my son's friends. So what made it weird is that he was one of my son's friends, not so much the age thing, because my son does tend to hang out with older guys because of football and fitness. But it was very strange.
If you married someone that was around your son's age or even younger, would you expect him to look at him as a father figure?
If I were to fall in love and settle down and marry someone that is even, let's say, one, my son's friend, or two, around my son's age, and he's qualified, like he's that dude, then sure, why not? It might be weird. But life is weird. Everything about living is weird. If this man is good to Harrison and that fatherly figure, maybe he would I don't think he would call him dad because he has a dad, but he might look at him like that. Sure, why not?
Even if he's younger than him.
Could he be younger than my son and be this fatherly figure? I mean, to me, that's attractive. You got these young bucks that have all this confidence and all this, they're ready to take the bull by the horns. That is sexy. And then he can function, right? I mean, I think, let's be real, when women are talking about dating younger guys, is that part of it? I mean, nobody talks about the elephant in the room, but is that part of it? Because older men have problems, functioning and stuff. And that's, I'm so sorry, that's a thing, but like nobody wants to take that on.
Sex is the big draw here with younger men. It's because they're sexually more functioning. They don't have erectile dysfunction. So would you say that sex is the number one draw for dating younger men?
I think a lot of young men don't know, you know what I mean? They're still wet behind the ears and they want me to show them and all. I'm not your mommy in the bedroom. I'm not your mommy in life. So that's not okay either. I don't want a young buck that's all inexperienced. I'm looking for a man with a plan that has the confidence regardless of his age.
I mean, what about threesomes? Or are you just looking for one?
Well, threesomes might make me a whore actually, because I would probably have a threesome with two men before I would have two with two girls. Unfortunately, truth be told, never did, but that's how this brain thinks, So I'm not looking for that female, and I've had beautiful daughters, like, ew, like to me, I don't want to think about being with a girl because I think about like being with like, female to me is loving, caring, shelter. It's not sexual.
You said you have an ex-husband and you have daughters, right? So would you let your ex-husband and one of your young daughters go on a show like MILF Manor?
So yeah, right. It would be weird. It would be weird because the man is like the father, right? And the strange thing is that there are in our mind, it's not my daughter. Like if it was someone else's daughter, I say, oh, that's not like, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, oh yeah, typical, another older guy with a young girl. But my daughter, like, it's harder because I don't want you know, my daughters or even my sons with them. I'm so like, you know, who's that person or whatever. And then for the dad, for their dad to date the young girl, I would think normal. And it'll be what it would be, just sexual until it's not. And then she's feeding his ego. Like, it would just be a joke. It would be a joke. And with my daughter, it would be wrong because that's my daughter, and, you know, but someone else's daughter, it would be like, it would seem so typical. That was the point I was making, that it wouldn't be weird and it would be quite typical if we saw it, you know, the other way.
But is it easier to let your son date older women than it is to put your daughter on a show like that to date older men?
Oh, that is a good question, Dominic. That is a really good question. Because, I mean, how old are we talking to for the guy? And
50.
Which daughter?
Like,
you know,
if you have a early 20 daughter with the 50-year-old, I mean, same ages as the one on MILF Manor. If you replace some of those people in their 50s or even 60 with men, and then your 22-year-old daughter, you know.
well, 22 is young. So she's 24 and
Okay.
then 50. It would be kind of gross because he's wanting, like, to be her daddy and stuff like that. If he was like, okay, if he was a version of me where he was young, fun, and spunky, and like not going to be your daddy, not going to talk to you like that and be any of that kind of stuff, but like, oh my God, jokester and fun, and I like to ski and snowboard and do all these things that a cool young guy does, and skateboard and whatever, then I'd be like, and he was responsible and trustworthy and all of those things, I'd be like, okay, maybe. But my son with the older woman, I'd be like, ew, that's like her son. I think I would be a little more like, what does she want from him other than like good sex, you know? Because he's young, she thinks she's going to get something. Because my son in particular, he's still fine, you know what I mean? He's becoming his man. He's not fully, like, he's not in a successful place in his life ready for retirement. So it's strange because women, we're looking for men who, for me, I'm looking for a man who is confident, he has some success under his belt, and honestly is doing better than I am. So what young man are you going to meet that's doing that? So that's why it would be weird.
So you can understand, I guess, some of the backlash, because in a way, you kind of think the same way as the viewers that are giving the backlash. It's just that it's you know, in the spotlight, and you're not a fan, you're actually on the show this time.
Yeah, but this is an interesting group of people on the show. I think people need to take away their stereotypes and their prejudices and just look at the people on the show and really see, because you have these women that are older, but they've invested in themselves and the way that they look, and they are coming to the forefront looking hot, you know what I mean? And so anybody that says, oh, they didn't even get hot moms, bull crap, because let me tell you, all these women look good. And think about the age thing too. Where are you going to find a mother and son in that? Like, how old you have to be to have had a son that young? So I think they did a really good job of finding both, you know. So these women are not your typical older women, and then the guys, you know, some of them were really mature and ready, so it almost works. So I think people are going to look and be like, wait a minute, this is very cringy, this could seem very gross and weird, but like, wait a minute, because these women are not acting like old hags. And the men stepped up to the boys, I should say, stepped up to the plate to show their manhood. I think, like, that they were, you know, confident and stuff. So I think you're going to see an inside look at this idea that maybe you thought was so negative actually is something to consider, and it possibly could work.